whole of yesterday, I've been in discussion with the leadership of the House, considering whether, in view of the very ominous allegations of corruption, bribery against this committee, and in particular, me as chairman, whether we should come and sit here and continue with this work. Two considerations were made. First, I was suggesting that we suspend the vetting process until investigations into this allegation are brought to a close. After consultation, the leadership and I, and in particular, the majority leader and I, came to a conclusion that any such decision would stall government business, as the president needs his ministers to work with him. Then I further suggested that if possible, this whole committee be reconstituted in order that the confidence the Ghanaian public have in Parliament may not be shaken. We together scanned through the Constitution and in particular standing orders. And after a careful review, we realized that it was not practicable under our rules. It is therefore with a lot of pain that I've come to sit here at this table again, presiding over this meeting. I know that in our country, people are very cynical, and probably rightly so, looking at where some of these allegations are coming from. I understand why people may not trust us here again. But as much as possible, I hope that tomorrow, when Parliament resumes, the leadership and the Speaker will take the appropriate steps to deal with this matter so that Ghanaians will see the bottom of the matter. I wish to add that decision-making of this committee has never been deferred. On any day, as soon as we finish proceedings, when we cleared the gallery, members sit here and take a decision whether a member will be recommended for approval by consensus or by majority. This has never changed. I've been on this committee since 2009, and that has always been the case. So if anybody wants to bribe us, then I suggest that he pays the bribe before we start, because there's no room after we have started proceedings for you to influence our decision. But these are matters that are, I'm sure, rightly and firmly in the hands of the leadership of Parliament, and I believe strongly that the appropriate investigations will be done such that members of this committee, our integrity will be restored.
I'm aware that the media have been longing for the minority leader to speak on a matter which is now of public interest, and I like to break my silence in it and to be associated with the comments of the first Deputy Speaker, that I will and we will support full-scale investigation to establish the veracity or otherwise of any matter that borders on the reputations of persons, the reputations of Parliament, including a full-scale parliamentary inquiry, which may be at Parliament's Privileges Committee. I expect that the Speaker of Parliament and leadership will take up the matter and establish the truth or otherwise of what is being speculated around, which is undermining the integrity and the work of this committee. I thank you.
And we had Joe Wise, and Joseph Osei-Owusu, or Joe Osei-Owusu, is a member of Parliament for Bekwai, but chairman of Parliament's Appointments Committee and the first Vice Speaker for Parliament. And we also know that following that, we had Harry Naidrisu speaking, the minority leader. But let me just introduce my guests, because they'll be speaking first to the issue. and Victor Kojoga Daudu. He's a legal practitioner, and thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. He's also a member of the NDC as well, and somebody who is also an MPP member, contested for the first vice chairmanship position of the party in the last executive elections nationally for the party, is Fred Amankwasafo. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, my brother.
Great.
Thanks for having me here.
Ah, great. I love the way the two of you look. You're going to court, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. That's the markets are playing.
and as an entrepreneur, you also look well to go to your business.
Yes, definitely.
Right. And combine that with politics, the two of you. Okay. So we wish you all the best. But your first impression so far, especially since this very matter has been raging on since the last 3-4 days.
For me, I take it from a different angle. It's an issue that has come. It has bedeviled this country. That there has been several allegations about bribery in Parliament. I think it does not augur well for the institution and the parliamentarians. I take it from a different angle. It's an issue of integrity. Integrity here. The persons involved, the persons that have been alleged that bribes have been paid and taken, and the institution itself. I think nothing will stop for that confidence to be rebuilt, or for people to have that, repose that confidence in the institution and the parliamentarians, until an independent committee is set. If there is a parliamentary inquiry into this, I think nobody will give them a dog's chance. The credibility would be gone. The reputation, if they themselves decide to be the judges in their own court, credibility, reputation, everything will be gone. It is time that we sit down as a nation and look at the issue dispassionately. Let there be an independent committee that will look into the matter, and where the chips fall, let us say, look, never again should this happen. There are procedures in Parliament. There are other issues that when they sitting allowances committee, you know, the other day I had people saying people just sit and they take money. If you actually advert your mind to the kind of work they do, especially the committees, when there are bills they have to go through and they sit down, they go section by section, article by article, you will appreciate the work that they do.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. A lot of work. I have no qualms with that. But where there have been persistent allegations, it is always tried in the media and it is left. And, you know, there is a worrying development. Not only this, for the past, you know, governments and generations, when the allegations, bribery, people have said something, they've been caught on tape, they only come and say that, I'm not the one. That ends the matter. I don't think this will go well. If this is how this parliament will start on this, and it is swept under the carpet, that will be the end of this parliament. It will go with them. It will be there. So I believe that let's have an independent, and the people who are making the allegation, I also believe that they have some integrity. They have credibility to protect the institution itself. We should not hide under the usual, there should be consensus in Parliament. Every time they work by consensus. This issue should not endanger division among them. I heard some parliamentarians say, oh, it's about the minority. The minority is about their issue, about the leadership. It is not. It is about the institution. It's about the parliamentarian. It is, the minority is alleging that some money came and was given to some. The majority members also took it. If they decide to keep quiet that it is not true, they can go, but they will live with their conscience. These are the people who have said it. They should be given the opportunity. They should be heard. Everybody should be heard on this matter. And as a nation, we say, no, it will not happen again. If it is a sitting allowance, and other things, let it be clearly defined. Everybody understands and know that this is what the remuneration or allowances are for. This is the other one, so that we will not have this again. Going the other angle is that these allegations that have been made, if you look at the leadership, the first deputy speaker is being accused. The second deputy speaker, Bangbagin, had made this allegation before. Now we have the chief whip also involved. It is the whole leadership. And will it augur well for the leadership of parliament, of this parliament, to go with issue of corruption? I don't think it is right.
Mr. Omankwasafu, as a doctoral student, for example, and you have to do sometimes your research and try to do observational, perhaps inquiries into what really happens. Do you think, for example, there's also impugn or perhaps puts the reputation of the institution into some jeopardy in any way?
Thank you very much. Yes, it does. Actually, it's not just even the institution of parliament. The whole governance system is being dragged into the mud. These are people who are representing our nation. And for such a statement to come from a member of the committee, it's really very bad. I wish that if he had such concerns, even before he came out, if it is true, and I, for my life, I would shudder to think that anything of the sort can really happen or that had happened. If he really had the evidence, I'm sure that the Parliament has systems where such complaint can be launched, so that full-scale investigation will be done internally to establish the veracity or otherwise of these allegations. For a member of Parliament to come out to impugn the integrity of its colleagues, I mean, what does he want? And he's a lawyer. What does he seek to achieve by coming out with this wild allegation?
I disagree with you.
I allowed you to go on and on and on.
Okay, sorry.
Well, so for me, in research, you cannot even conclude before you are done. So you come out with your conclusion after you have done with your data analysis, collected and analyzed your data before you can draw any meaningful conclusion out of it. Sometimes even what you expect to get out of what you're going to do might not be what you expect.
But the two situations are not the same, are they?
They are the same, so long as you are alleging culpability on somebody else. You need to prove. You just don't come out there and throw it, and then we are all there trying to bite this issue.
But you do agree it's not become a partisan matter. It's more as if, just like what lawyer Kojoga Daudu said, more of Parliament as an institution having its reputation on the line, because it's not the first time it's occurred.
For me, it even goes beyond Parliament's reputation. It's the whole country, because this is being aired live. And look, people are going to deal with us. I am probably because I'm an entrepreneur and a businessman. I always look at things from investment perspective. If we expose ourselves like this, how do you want the foreign investors to deal with you?
When the exposure could be true or not?
You cannot say something is true until you have come out with it, the facts. Until you have come out with the facts and established, he who alleges would have to prove. Now, to impugn the integrity of the whole system, and now your own colleague, the leader, the minority leader, had come out to deny that anything of the sort happened. Honorable Muntaka had come out to even swear on the Quran, on his faith, that nothing of this sort happened. So, look at what are we doing? The minority itself seems to have a bit of crack in there, because you have few of them coming out with this allegation, and the others say no, nothing of this sort happened. If a full-scale investigation will be required. I agree with my colleague that we shouldn't. The Parliament cannot sit on its own case. You cannot be a judge in your own case. So an independent inquiry should be considered, rather than having a parliamentary inquiry into
well,
this.
Why not? when there were allegations that judges had supposedly taken bribes. So we had the Chief Justice constituting a body as mandated by law to do that. And the Chief Justice has a judiciary.
Yeah, well, in all cases, I would expect, I would advocate for the establishment of an independent inquiry, because I don't expect that you would, you know, Parliament is an organization, and every organism would protect itself. It's a natural sequence of events. Everybody would want to protect its own integrity. So if you're going to do an inquiry in your own court, then we are not likely to believe what you've said. But be as it may, I think that we should be circumspect in what we say, even in this time, and get the facts out. From where I sit, I cannot see for the life of me that a minister designate would want to influence vetting committee members. We have a majority in Parliament. At worst, what comes to it is put it to votes, and we can go with our numbers. Why would I want to? And look at the amount of money we are talking about here, 3,000 Ghana cedi, and the whole world is.
No, it is about 100,000.
For how many people? For how many people?
But the committee is about 20.
So 20 people
more than
20 people sharing 100,000 Ghana cedis. Is that what we are alluding to? Look,
so you're saying that it's small money.
It is
imagine.
It is even too small to be able to influence any member. Let's not. My last point is that Parliament and institutions of this nature should also avoid giving out cash, even if it is genuine money that is being shared. For example, if committees setting allowance that is being shared, I'm not sure that distributing cash at such level should be avoided, so that at least we can have a trace of what is happening. You can just put it in their account or give them a check, so that you know that it is coming from the institution. Probably monies have been given out that were coming from Parliament itself as committee members sitting allowance, but not to influence members of the
for a country that pays its football players in cash. What do you expect? But not to take away from the subject.
Yeah, let me take away from the subject. Just the judiciary one you were talking about. Oh. It is a constitutional arrangement, because the tenure of charges, the superior courts, it says for their removal or any misconduct, there should be, so the Constitution has really made...
It's enshrined in law.
Yes, okay. So we could not go for independent destiny. That's about that. Two, he was talking about that he thinks that there's a crack within the minority. I don't think so. You see, the minority as a whole, they have found, some members found that, look, money had been given to us. Let's inquire what kind of money it is. Allegedly. So they decide that, no, we think we'll have to return our money. Do not let us forget that the 3 or 5 people that have been mentioned, they would only come out and say anything. They have some integrity, modicum of integrity to be protected. You know, where I think he was saying that it should have been internally discussed, then how would we have known that if things are not right? And don't forget that issue of bribery is a crime. So if it is a crime, it should be discussed internally, cover it as if nothing had happened. I think these are been allegations that have gone on for several years. It is time somebody feels that, look, my conscience and integrity will not deal with me well, and my people will not. They need to hear this, that this is happening. And they have sworn by their act, what they have done, have put their integrity on the line. So if it comes out that this did not happen, what do you think that their integrity, it is battered, they will lose their reputation, what they have been. Don't forget that Ayariga has been an MP for almost getting to the 4th term. He came, he lost, then he came back. So he knows the rules of Parliament. Parliament is the master of its own procedure. So if they come out and say that, look, this is what we think has gone on, we believe it is wrong, it is a crime, let our constituents...
Who constitutes the independent inquiry body you want?
I don't think that, they're eminent citizens. They're eminent citizens that even within this nation, everybody has some modicum of respect and integrity for them. So these are people that when we know and they speak, everybody listens to them. If it is partisan and others, these issues, we will not get to the logical conclusion.
Now we're told that the chairman of the committee and as well as the minority leader, who is the ranking, don't have any qualms having an investigation into the matter.
Yeah, they shouldn't. I'm sure that it's in their right purview to so, because we are by day we are all discussing and impugning on their integrity. Look, I listened to Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and you can even, his voice is even shaking. This is a very confident person.
How did you get to know that?
Look, you read the body language, and you realize that, look, his leadership, even with the minority, is being questioned. Did he really receive money on behalf of the minority and give the money out to them? He said he has not received any such money. So why are we spending? Why are we spending?
That's Muntaka.
What
about his response? That's what it means.
Yeah.
Means that, go ahead, I haven't
done anything. So why are we spending time and energy discussing this issue? Look, this is a new government that has received a lot of acclamation across the globe. Yeah. Ghana has really done well. We pulled a very nice election and handing over, even though at a point we were all sitting on tenterhooks. We pulled out very nicely, and the whole world is very happy about us compared to what happened in Gambia. So we have been a beacon of hope in Africa. Then we are starting to set up our government, and then this issue comes up. Look, we've thrown everything to the dogs. Everything we've done so far in our election, in a transition.
Well, it's because three members of parliament, three prominent members of parliament,
three members of
feel
parliament,
that something went wrong.
Something wrong.
And if
it's wrong, if it's evil, it is evil.
If it is evil, it is evil, and we must do everything to make sure that we uproot it. But whilst we are at it, people just threw out. I'm happy you are a lawyer, and you said bribery is a crime.
Yeah.
Bribery is a crime, and you impugn criminality on members without evidence. No, I'm sure that we could do something better.
You see, integrity, reputation, even we enjoyed. There had been scandal even in the British Parliament, where MPs, their allowances, they had to go in it. It did not affect their investment. Listen. Before people do investment, they do the analysis, they look at the economic trends. These are minor issues that would want, they will look at it as a
that an investor who is coming to a country will have to deal with government in which his projects or perhaps his activity will have to go through certain agreements and will be before committees of parliament, will be thinking I have to pay money, or perhaps there will be a perception that I have to pay money.
That is why it is imperative for this government and parliament as institution, which has campaigned on issue of corruption, that we are incorruptible. And you are starting a government and the issue of corruption starts, and you think that it should be swept under the carpet. It should be looked at.
Nobody said that.
That is why I'm saying that the government itself needs to shed that gap and say that, look, there is no corruption. You cannot align corruption with us. So it is for them to prove to the whole world that, look, no, we will not tolerate anything. So when there is an issue of corruption, I think they should be the people that they even exonerate or absolve themselves that these allegations that have been made, we were not part of it. If not, this government will run with questionable issues. It will run with them, that you started on corruption. Yes, so I think it is important.
I still have with me my two anti-corruption campaigners for the morning, and lawyer Victor Kojoga Dawudu, I'm also a member of the NDC as well, and also with the MPP, and someone who contested the first vice chairmanship position of the party in the last national executive elections, Fred Amankwasafo. But you also are watching us from the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. You are the administrator or the director of administration for the hospital. You're with Sir Kwame Boateng this morning, and George Tete, please have a good morning as well. But we have to change the subject, but very much related, because you just have to watch this, and after we'll make a comment.
I spoke from my convictions. The former president, John Dramani Mahama, I made the statements that I made as a wake-up call for him. We are building a nation. He was running for re-election, and I felt that the people who should tell him as it is were not telling him as it was. I wasn't banned from Metro. They decided that because he was my brother, they did not want me to speak. And when I talked about him being an embarrassment, I spoke in relation to SADA. SADA is very dear to my heart. My mother is a Northerner. The incidence of poverty is highest in the 3 northern regions. And for a president who comes from the north, who promised to alleviate poverty, what happened to the guinea fowls? It was an embarrassment to me and to the north. The chiefs of the north actually made that statement. And so I don't owe him or you any apology. We are developing and building a nation. Thank you. I'll be the last person to do that, because I myself have been a victim of such allegations. It is a misconstrued impression. What I said at the time that Honorable Kennedy Ejapong made the statements, the allegations, I said that Madame Charlotte, because of her position, the first woman to occupy that seat, and the fact that she needed to be like Caesar's wife, above reproach, I said that because of her integrity, there should be an investigation.
Currently, the National Women's Organizer of the MPP, Otiku Afisa-Jaba, is the minister nominee for the Ministry for Gender, and you know her very well.
Very well.
That's her character.
Yes, this is a very firm person.
Yeah, that's how she is.
That's how she is.
She looks very aggressive.
She's not aggressive. I mean, to be a national women's organizer, you need to be firm and tactful, and I'm sure she exhibited herself very well. I'm so proud of her. Yesterday, I sent her a text message to congratulate her for her posture and for the manner in which she answered.
You did?
Question. Yes, I did.
There were comments on social media that her posture was very militant.
I did, because she wasn't militant, because the posture of some of the members of the committee and the questions that were being posed, some of them were just off the cuff. I think that she exhibited herself very well. I am proud of her.
But beyond what comments you have to add to her, also perhaps the level of debate or the responses and the questions so far for the vetting, for the appointments committee.
All for her or the whole?
No, you talk to her, on her subject.
I think that she, in her estimation, she spoke her conviction. She thinks that she owes nobody an apology, and she stands by her conviction. I believe that it is society, if it is accepted within the mores of society, society will judge. But I think that she's still in the element of the political era, the campaign era. You know, it is easier to say things when you're in opposition, but when you get into government, things, you know, you are hedged. There is an oath of secrecy. There are things that you cannot say when you get into government. And I'm sure that's when the minority leader was telling her that some of the things you are saying, it's still as if you're on the campaign trail and you would say it. One of the things for me personally, I had looked at the vetting, was that most of the campaign things that were said, when most of the nominees were asked that this was said, they said, well, I don't remember, I don't think we said this. For me, it still comes back to an issue of integrity. You see, you can say, yes, this was said on campaign platform, but it's not part of our manifesto. But if you are evasive and you deny, what are we teaching our children? You know, there's a story that somebody goes to an administrator in church. Then he goes home and you were talking, so our pastor is two-faced. The son goes Sunday, you know, he's close to the pastor. Then he was doing like looking to the face of the pastor to see whether he's two-faced. He said, oh, why are you doing that? He said, my mother said you are two-faced. Because the life you live in public should be the same life you live in private. That is all it is about. So I have seen some few issues I feel that they should speak your conviction. If that is what you believe in, let society judge you. It's within the confines of the law, the morals accepted by society. Society at the appropriate date would adjudge whether you were right or not. I don't like it when people are assertive. People have spoken their mind, then people say they are arrogant. But you know, when you're in government and you believe something, your deep conviction, where society also thinks that it is wrong, and you still keep on saying it, that is when the kind of arrogance, they say people get into power and the arrogance starts. Because you still believe, you know that this is the way to go, this is right. But society is telling you that that's where the disconnection comes. You are disconnected with your people. So sometimes you must be a good listener and see that, yes, this is what I believe. This I think is good for the people, but the people are not gelling with me. They are not going along with me. That should be one of the skills for every leader, that you should be able. But I don't see that. Nobody speak your conviction. When you are wrong, you are wrong. You've spoken your conviction. If you are right, you are right. I think that's what I have seen about the veteran, and I believe that when they go and they ask them, they should be candid and say this is what.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. I think I agree largely with your sentiments. What I would want to add is that yes, she seems to be in the campaign mood because the questions that were posed to her were questions that were coming from the campaign trail.
Because precisely, I wanted to ask.
The question, these were questions that were.
You were saying that some of the questions were off the cuff.
They were questions that really.
But for example, if you, for example, call the president at the time wicked, and your comment also seemed to have suggested that a comment that seemed to have denigrated a woman of high leadership position and seemed to have supported that comment denigrating her. Is it not justifiable, looking at the position you occupy, representing that sectional group, that questions related to those sections of the population relatedly will be asked?
She only called for an independent inquiry into the allegations that were being leveled against the EC chair. That's all she did. And if she says the former president's attitude was embarrassment, that is her belief, that is her impression. And you cannot take somebody's impression away from her. That's the impression. It was an embarrassment because she herself is a Northerner, and that's her brother. Okay, so we expect you to do things better than you have done. Look at SADA. It was an embarrassment. Look at the guinea fowl. Look at the tree planting projects. These are embarrassments. And you go back to North. Look, I have business concerns in the Northern region, the 3 Northern regions and Brahafo. Okay? And you can see, if you go there, you can see the level of poverty in there. Okay? So if you are one of them, and you campaign in 2012, this is a president who campaigned on the fact that because he's a Northerner, you should vote for him, so that he'll come and alleviate you from poverty. So you become a president, and then you set up a SADA. Very brilliant idea that you borrowed from the MPP manifesto in 2012. Okay, so and you give so much money. Look, PNF. I'm a member of the Progressive Nationalist Forum. You know what we did with the SADA issue. I think that it was even more than embarrassment. It was thievery. It was stealing. Okay? To tell us that guinea fowl had flown to Burkina Faso. To tell us that you went to plant trees in the heat of Harmattan. And that you can't look, the afforestation project would have been an excellent project to help the area. At least the Sahara is coming down. We need to stop it. We need to have a barrier so that we do not come and wake up one morning and then all the northern region has become desert. So it was a brilliant idea. But how much money was committed into this project? And what do we have to show? And if somebody says, he did not even say you corrupt. He didn't say that the president stole the money. He said she feels embarrassed. And why would you want to take somebody?
So the man is wicked.
Of course you're wicked.
Evil.
Of course you're wicked. I mean, nobody takes you to court for being wicked. Nobody takes you to court for being wicked. Nobody takes you to court for embarrassing yourself. You can only be taken to court if corruption, if a criminal act had been alleged against you. So he thinks that you are wicked. That is her impression. And I think the president on that score was also wicked. And I think that it was an embarrassment to the people of the North. I'll be going to Tamale next weekend. And as soon as you get down, you feel that, look, this area needs help. And to have a president that is coming from that part of the world and not doing anything to help them alleviate their plight, it's a sign of wickedness.
You were not expecting the president or the former president, because he was from the north, to pump all the resources of Ghana to the north at the same time.
Let's have equitable distribution.
Or you think that the monies that were allocated for that area could have been better used?
Yes, especially for SADA. I mean, we think that something must be done, and must be done quickly with alacrity in the north, the three northern regions. That is why we came out with the idea of the Northern Development Fund. And then you said that you want to call it SADA. That's fine.
But you still said you're going to do the Northern Development
We will do that. We will do that.
So you change it to the
Northern Development Authority.
Because SADA, I mean, where do we pick from? And look at the amount of money that was committed. Billions of Ghana cedis was committed there, and then we have nothing to show. I'm not saying that because you come from the north, go and say, the president will not take everything to Chebi or to Achim or to Eastern region. But let's have equitable distribution. And if money had been allocated to a particular project, and you are the president, so pretending on our resources, and you look on, and people get guinea fowl flown to Burkina Faso, and somebody says you are an embarrassment, and you want to use that to pin Otiko down, I think that Otiko exhibited a lot, and people are very proud.
Since the start of the vetting, what would you say about the level of questioning? Some of the questions have been very frivolous, really sometimes also not pertaining to the sector of inquiry or perhaps questioning or for which the nominee has been designated.
I believe let me just take one or two, then I'll answer your question. I think that when it comes to the issue of SADA that they've talked about, SADA had its own board, its own management. And I believe, yes, the back stops with the president because the president that composed that. But the three northern regions has changed. There's a lot of development that had gone there. I had lived in the north. I've been in the north in the early 90s. If you go to the north today, it's changed. But SADA, all of us had agreed that few things did not go well. There had been some misapplication of funds here and there. But I don't think that specifically it was an embezzlement here and there. They misapplied funds here and there, which everybody believed that. I was sad that SADA did not pick up as how it was intended to be, because I felt sad also because the people who were to manage were all brought up from the three northern region who knew what should have gone in. And I think that when Abu Ghraib came, things started picking up. So to say that, that's what I said, we will leave it for society to see whether if you say things that you may, in your estimation, is not insulting or is not belligerent, and people think that it is, you leave it for society and your conscience. Now, about the vetting, you see, government comes in, or parties come into governance, and the party produces this leadership for the state. So when the leadership is provided, the only contract you have between you and the citizen, it's your manifesto. So you see most questions are coming in from the manifesto or what they know about the candidate. Now, I believe, as you were saying, that the sector and the institution that they are going to, what are the systemic and chronic problems, how innovative they will be to resolve those issues. Largely, most of the problems we have there, the technocrats, everybody know what is the solution. The underlying factor is finance. Budgets are made. The whole amount is not given to the ministry. If you listen to some of the amounts that they give in a year, sometimes 40,000, 30,000 for goods, and you know, they take budget above 5 million, they are given 500,000 in a whole year. And even when this money is not used, government still comes and sweeps the account. That yes, you need to, even where they generate IGF, internally generated fund, still some places government still have its long hand on this money. The issue is finance. We are waiting. We are looking forward that the economy is turned around. The loopholes that they have seen, let them block it so that we'll be able, the people will be empowered. I always ask, if you give me a job, you don't give me the tools. You don't give me the needed tools, the finance, and how will I be able to perform? People would say I'm incompetent, I'm not doing my work. I know what the solution, what I have to do, but the finance is not there. It has been one of the biggest problems that the NDC government had, because money, it was an era of austerity. Money was not being given. When money was needed to execute some project, to move on, you know, it became a problem. So that's why I believe that they will have to be very innovative. They will have to see how we can get the money. Now, the people coming in there, I think one of the good things is they would have to learn every bit and pieces from the technocrats, the civil servants. They know the problems. They know what are the resolutions that would come. But when you come and they see your attitude and others, some are even there who want to do you in as a minister. You know, as a minister. But if you have a very good relationship with them, they will tell you what are the problems, what they think are the solutions. So I think asking them now, they can come and say it, but what is the assurance that they will be able to perform when they are not given the needed tools to perform?
I get your point. He's been sworn in, and we know he's a subject of many of the discussions we're having this morning. Boakye Ejako is the Minister for Energy.
Yeah.
And he's quoted in the on the front page of the Finder, and on page 2 also, in a story by Daniel Nono, that Ghanaians should expect reduction in electricity tariffs very soon. Very ambitious, if you ask me.
Yes, it is ambitious, but it's also part of our campaign that we would want to make energy as affordable as possible. And it's all about efficiency and effectiveness. We might have the same resources, but how efficient we utilize these resources would help us to be able to reduce, one, to maintain the power, the energy sector very well, and to help at least reduce to some level the tariff that we are paying now. It's an ambitious thing, but look, President Akufo-Addo wants to pursue an ambitious agenda in this country, and I will not be surprised that at all if prices of energy comes down.
Roland, I'll be happy if electricity prices come, because
you should expect it.
Definitely, yes, I'll be happy for it, because I'm a Ghanaian, and if it goes high, I pay high utility bills. If it comes down, why not? But will it be sustainable? That's the underlining. If it's sustainable, that, you know, they look at the inefficiencies and it is taken away and it can come down, why not? That's why I'm saying they have to be innovative. But you see, these are things that are being said and the expectation. So Ghanaians will be expecting that this is what you said, you reduce the fuel, you reduce the utility for us to be able to make a living. So we will be expecting some of this thing. And it's good news when he said it will come. My only little difficulty with the Minister of Energy now is that the bribery thing hanging around him. You know,
I thought we were past that.
Oh no. You see, he's a fine gentleman. He says he hasn't done it. Just like Dr. Anani, Richard Anani. You know, when there were issues, they had to go to strike. He stepped aside. When they finished and he was cleared, then he took over. Everybody, all the things surrounding him, the questionable issues, cleared. He's a nice man. He's a free man. You know, it's about you when you carry yourself as a minister, what you would say, when people would also, your detractors would say, oh no, this man, you cannot trust him. You know, it goes,
like
it's a perception, and that perception becomes a reality.
So you're saying he should
I think aside. For me, it would be good that maybe he steps aside, let them look into the matter quickly, and I don't think that He
just resumed office, for God's sake.
Oh, no, but there is an issues around you. You see, it's about when you speak, the authority that office commands, that office gives you. When you speak, it should be taken. But when you speak and people are divided, people have issues with you, that's what I'm talking about. It's not about him as a person that he's not fit to occupy that office. He's fit to occupy that office.
You see, he's worried about his detractors. I am worried about investors.
Yeah.
I'm worried about investors. If his integrity is in question,
subject is not.
Yeah.
It's not on.
Yeah.
But we've dealt with them.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, we should be very certain that things are going to improve and improve very well from what we've been experiencing the last 3 to 4 years or so. There's going to be massive improvement in the energy sector. My worry now is that we are starting with a shaky integrity issue.
Yeah.
That the person who is to lead us to prosecute the agenda of improved in energy is being touted here and there, and now calling on
Do you think it's a smear campaign?
I don't know what it is, but my brother is talking about detractors, and that is sending my mind that people's action are not based on national agenda. People's action.
But it's a reputational issue. It's got nothing to do with whether he's good or not,
I can allege
whether him as a person has a national agenda to improve.
I'm talking about those who are throwing out allegations of bribery.
It's an institutional issue, isn't
it? It is.
Which impinges on the reputation of the individuals of those institutions.
Yes, it's important that we
clear. It's a very serious issue.
It is very serious. That is why we are discussing it. It's important that we clear him. But look, the man is just going into office, and instead of having the concentration to bring his innovative ideas to make sure that our energy sector improves, he's here trying to defend himself about.
But let me ask you this. I know that you're into business. You use a lot of energy for all the things that you do.
In fact, that's what I do. That's what I do for a living.
Yes, but almost every think tank expert who has spoken on energy in the past says that we have to pay realistic tariffs for realistic power.
Yeah, but realistic tariffs
now the Minister of Energy, who is new, of course, albeit with a reputational issue as we claim on this very platform, is promising juicy packages for Ghanaians. I would want to pay good rates. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we also have to make sure we consolidate the producers and the generators and the distributors of energy.
You see, if 50% of an energy generation is dissipated along the line, people stealing power, people not paying, government owing electricity company and power producers. I mean, so how efficient are we looking at our energy sector? And efficiency can really help reduce the tariffs. So when you say realistic, you're saying realistic in the context that if efficiency is brought to bear, we are able to prevent the leakages that comes out as the result of production.
In a year or two.
Yeah, but eventually.
Why are you promising breakfast when you know the breakfast will not be ready until it's dinner?
Eventually, he didn't give timelines as to when this thing is going to. But eventually, when we're able to plug these holes of dissipation, we should arrive at a point where we will be able to reduce tariff so that it will be realistic. Realistic tariff does not necessarily mean that it should be high. I mean, realistic is not necessarily high.
So what should it be?
It should be optimum. It should be one that we can. It should be optimum.
That's English. Just basic.
But it's not high because we are looking at our generation capacity, distribution capacity, and even our billing capacity and even revenue generation. Okay, we can do more than that, and we are going to have innovative ideas where green energy will come in, solar energy will come in, more not just the gas and
the conservative way.
The conservative of
Roland, I know that Mr. Jaku Boakye is Boakye Jaku, the minister. He's a team leader. I know they are assembling a team to go to the Ministry of Energy that involves even some of the experts who pontificated and on issues of energy.
They pontificated.
Oh, they said they had the solutions. Are you getting it? So I know there are teams that will be put in place. We will wait that, let them come. When they get there, we should be able to bring some of this down. Then we will now have the assurance and believe that, yes, they had the solution. It's not like you are a spectator. When on the football, you think that this is how the game should have been played, this is how the coach should have been. They are now getting into it. And when they get into it, for me, and for I think everybody in Ghana, if energy is accessible, energy is affordable, it endures to our benefit. Yes, I work, the other people you have to pay utilities here and there, and it is biting, especially when you go to the villages. It is very, very biting. So if they have solutions that will make it affordable to all of us, and they think some of the deals that the previous government entered into, which was not beneficial to this nation, and they go, I don't see the reason why they cannot look at it and revise it. It is value for money and things that have to be done.
No wonder the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo says we should be citizens, not spectators. Thank you very much. And Victor Kojogan Dawudu is a legal practitioner, and he's a member of the NDC. A member of the MPP as well, contested for the first vice chairmanship position in the last national elections of the MPP is Fred Amankwa Safo. And thanks for joining me, Fred.
Yeah, Roland, let me wish my boy, Maudon Fia Adaudu, he's 3.
Where does he go to school?
He goes to Baby Nest at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, the family and everybody wish him the best.
Okay.
I think the grandparents were there this morning.
All right. Happy birthday to him. If you throw a party, please invite me.
We'll do so.
Okay, I'll give you a call thereafter. We'll have lunch on your behalf. Don't worry. We know you can't eat the good buffet located around. So don't worry, we'll eat on your behalf and grow for you. And thank you, gentlemen, too.
Thank you very much.
It's been a delight having the two of you.
Thank you.
But I would have loved to ask them what they thought about the relevance of the Council of State. What do you think?
For me, I think that, yes.
Just in
I think it's something that should stay. In as much as the advice is not binding on the president, you know, well, the kind of caliber who constitute or the intention, people who had served in public service, they have institutional memory, being on the council will be able to put brakes on the president. They should be able to advise him in camera, and he knows what to do.
Fred,
we should maintain them. We should maintain them.
Wow. Okay, so that was the subject of the Joy FM Thought Leadership. There was a debate on the relevance of the Council of State, and for the motion was Daniel Sigwase, a legal practitioner, and also against the motion was another legal practitioner. Indeed, an experienced one, and Kujo Binti Enchel of Binti Enchel Lecha and Ankoma. And, well, we'll bring you excerpts from that very debate.
I speak for the motion that it should be abolished, and in my opening submission said that it is just a duplication of functions already being performed by other state institutions.
You mentioned the Attorney General?
Principal legal advisor, and then I mentioned cabinet as well. Yes. So, per the Constitution and all of the consultation that is meant to be done with the with the Council of State, there are already analogous provisions that more or less deal with this situation. So if you are meant to appoint in consultation with the Council of State, which is a separate body that we set up and remunerate, and you still have your cabinet, even when we go to the ministries, we have the directors who can then advise government on this institutional arrangements, the governance of each ministry. We have ministers, we have deputies, even the government is allowed, president can appoint more than one deputy. It is a duplication which we can do away with, and nonetheless the tenets of our democracy will still be respected. And the Constitution will still be able to provide for the separation of powers, because we have Parliament, we have the judiciary, and then we have the executive. So for me, if we take it out of the Constitution, we lose nothing. We lose nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I open the debate to you. The floor is open. You may ask questions. Ask questions. But you want a rebuttal. Please, go ahead.
By the way, the budget for the Council of State is part of the appropriation for the office of the President. Admittedly, the budget doesn't set out all the different parts, but let's assume that it's a fraction of the budget of the office of the President. So you can try and research it. From that angle. And also, on this last point, that everything else is a duplication, I know of nobody, no organization that is capable of drawing in people who are outside the day-to-day realms of politics and official institutional life in the way, and drawing out independent people or potentially independent people than the Council of State. I do not agree that it is a duplication.